This is breaking news on That's Good Sports Podcast. This information happened after Will and I recorded, but tight end for the Denver Broncos, Jake Butt, tore his ACL today at a walkthrough at the Broncos practice. He will be out for the season, which is what they call shitty news. Shit news for the Broncos. Just as Jake Butt started to look good, he tears his ACL. That leaves Jeff Hireman, Matt Lacoste to pick up the slack. Troy Fumagalli already on the injury, on IR for the Broncos at the position. I don't think he can come back till week 8. So this is something to monitor for the Broncos. They may have to pick up a tight end to add depth to the position. But just wanted to start the podcast off with horrible news, put you in a great fucking mood. Okay, we're recording. Get out of here, cat. God damn it, every time. Welcome to the That's Good Sports Podcast. I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys at WillKeys6 on Twitter. Give him a follow. This is a football podcast. We're going to talk about the Broncos for the first half of the podcast and the NFL for the second half of the podcast. And you can download this like Real Big Boy Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, wherever you want to listen to your podcasts. And it posts we do every Monday and Thursday here on the That's Good Podcast YouTube channel. And Tuesdays, I have the Blitzed Radio Podcast here. And on Saturdays, Jake Shapiro is covering the Rockies. So that is a lot of stuff to throw at you. In this episode with the Broncos, we're going to look at this matchup against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Talk about the punting situation a little bit. And maybe the Broncos offensive line, the Kansas City offense. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with this game coming up. And NFL, we'll go over how horrible I am at picking fucking football winners. The Panthers signed Eric Reid today. We've got Andrea Kremer and Hannah Storm calling the Thursday night game. We'll pick all of the games this week. And you can see who won last week in Will and I's terrible fantasy lineups. And we'll try to set the worst possible fantasy lineups this week again. So that's what we're getting to, Will.
That's right. You're on a full show. Full show.
I really don't need you for the first 2 minutes of this podcast, you know?
Yeah, I could be doing something much better with my time.
Yeah, you can do a lot in 2 minutes, especially alone in your bedroom right there.
It takes more like 6 to 7 minutes.
Well, that's what happens when you don't have a woman around. You can triple your lasting time.
Wait, hey, which segue that into the Beating Goff t-shirts.
Yeah, you can get your Beating Goff t-shirts at the That's Good Sports store. Will Keys famously will be famous. Yes. Beating Goff this week, tonight, Thursday Night Football. Oh, yeah, we'll preview Thursday Night Football. Can Kirk Cousins beat Goff? Will Kirk Cousins be beating Goff on primetime football is the question everybody's going to be asking, and we're going to bring it up every Rams game. Can you beat Goff?
We know Kirk Cousins is a devout Christian. He is married, but does he still make enough time in the day to beat Goff?
Right, and it's not cheating on his wife if he's beating Goff, you know?
Absolutely not.
Especially if there's, 100 other men watching in uniform. That's actually that sounds like a very, very interesting plot line to a gay porn, but that's enough beating Goff, but it's going to be a thing. I think I've already sold some shirts, Will. I think some people have purchased the Beating Goff shirts.
They should be selling like hotcakes. We just need to if the Rams weren't like the worst fan base in the NFL, maybe second to the Chargers, the other LA team, we'd be billionaires by now, I think.
Yeah, I think as long as the Rams keep playing well, that fan base is going to flock to them.
Yes.
the easiest way to do that is have a winning organization, right? When teams start to win, people get involved. It's what's going on with the Rockies right now, who did win a clutch game last night, and the Dodgers lost. So the Rockies now have first place of the NL West. I know this is a football podcast, but this is relevant to Colorado.
By a half game.
And the who else needed to lose? The Cardinals? They lost?
Yeah, they lost to the Brewers.
So for more of that, remember. Hey, guys, remember, I have got a Saturday podcast with Jake Shapiro doing the Rockies.
Remember.
I'm trying to think if there was something I wanted to talk about today on the podcast, and I did not write it down for the intro here, and I have lost it. I have freaking lost it.
It'll come back to you.
Oh, somebody commented that my gray removing shampoo is working in the YouTube comments. So
oh, okay.
I appreciated that as I revealed. My dad got me the gray removal shampoo. I've been using it. Still got the gray in there, but it goes away slowly. I know one thing I wanted to talk about. A lot of people reached out to me because the NFL blocked my Broncos-Ravens video. And I fought it. I fought it through YouTube. I said, this is fair use. This is fair fucking use. And the video's back up on my main channel, That's Good Sports. So a win for the little guys, everybody. Yes. The NFL.
Clapping probably sounds super obnoxious through a microphone.
The NFL's still taking any money that video generates.
Yeah.
But it's back for you guys to watch, you know. That's the beautiful thing is the NFL will claim your video, take your money, and then block it, and then you fight it, and they go, oh, yeah, why would we block this? We could just be making money off of it.
Yeah, finally the little guys are getting a cut. Finally the NFL gets what's rightfully theirs.
Right. Oh, and did you see Demarcus Ware on Dancing with the Stars?
I didn't. I sure didn't.
Well, he looks good, man. That guy can dance.
Yeah. When does he not look good?
He jumped – his first move was jumping over the woman. Just ran and jumped over her like Justin Simmons did. Let's get into the Broncos.
Josh Allen.
Right. Yeah, Josh Allen hurdling people. Josh Allen looked good, but he may go down in NFL history as having the best hurdle for a white guy in the game.
Yeah. I can't argue with that.
I mean, not only was his hurdle impressive that he jumped high enough to hurdle a guy, but it got him a first down on it was a long – they needed, I think, more than 10 yards to get the first down, and that hurdle got him the first down. So very impressive. Last week we talked a lot about Justin Simmons hurdling the center or whatever, and that for the blocked field goal that got – returned for a touchdown and then called back because of Domata Peko. I saw Justin Simmons on local TV this week explaining why that play is legal, finally getting some clarity after there was a lot of misinformation out there. But you were right in the last podcast. He was within the jumping yardage area, and I guess if you don't touch the person that you're jumping over also makes it legal. And the job on that play was for Domata Peko to push the guard down and make sure he can't get up. And then Simmons splits the gap between the guard and the center to do that play, which, of course, Peko did well. And then he pushed the guy in the back and got flagged for it later. So it did not give the Broncos that touchdown they needed.
Yeah, totally a push, not a flop at all. Basically assaulted him.
Yeah, it was the worst assaulting we've ever seen in a football game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about another problem from that football game, which was the punting. Marquette King probably had his worst game of the year so far.
And he had some opportunities to punt.
He sure did.
He only had to punt 20 – how many times? He punted – did he punt more than 10 in that game? It was a lot.
I don't think it was that many. But he struggled. I can only remember him, actually hitting one of them really well.
Yeah.
Usually he just kicks the shit out of the ball. That's why they signed him.
Yeah.
We don't know what the deal was.
It's because you're right. Marquette King traditionally as a punter did two things very well. And one is he had a great leg, just blasted the ball deep. And two is drops it inside the 20, which he did once or twice in that game when the Broncos weren't in terrible field position.
Mm-hmm.
But when they needed him to bail them out, when they were, backed up within their 10, he could barely get the ball to midfield, which was a surprise. And I guess he was getting criticism in the preseason from the Broncos coaches. So who did they bring in this week?
Colby Wadman, who I think was also on the Raiders. Colby Wadman.
Oh, Colby Wadman. Maybe he's the one who can
beat Goff. Yeah.
Wadman.
Coming soon.
God, we are fucking children.
We sure are.
I hear the word wad, and the first thing I think of. Oh.
Wasn't that like
not a wad of gum?
No, it wasn't like Johnny Wad, like a porn series with like what's his name, John Holmes back in the day? I only know this from
I don't know.
I know this from Boogie Nights, not from actually watching like old retro porn.
Not from stumbling on your dad's Johnny Wad collection?
It was a video series, yeah. VHS tapes. I just open a closet and they all come pouring out.
Johnny Wad. Yeah, I mean, so the Broncos bring in a punter, assuming to put the pressure on King.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those moves that it's not going to go anywhere per se.
Facebook message.
Sorry, yeah. Very important shit.
Yes.
But it's like, hey, man, you are not living up to expectations. We gave you a lot of money to come punt in the easiest punting city on earth, and you're not doing your job. So I think we're going to learn who Marquette King is this weekend. Like, when the pressure's on, is he going to come out and perform, or is there just too much going on with him that I think, like, it's kind of he's in his own head about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's sort of what happens. And I don't know. He's an interesting guy. And I think I don't know.
I think there's two theories. One is that they're trying to put the heat on him, like you said, which I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work because he seems like kind of I don't want to say fragile ego, but like he's a different guy. So maybe this works. Maybe it has disastrous consequences. The other possibility is that he's like injured or something. Maybe strained something in his punting leg or his groin or whatever that forced him to kind of look weak against Baltimore. Which we should be fair to. Like, Baltimore is about as sea level as it gets, and it was raining pretty hard during that game. So not ideal
Not
condition.
an ideal punting game, no.
Should do better than that.
Yeah. I don't know if he was injured. I didn't hear anything about it, but you never know. And I guess kind of moving on a little bit, the reason they're giving Case Keenum some slack in him looking inaccurate and throwing the balls into the dirt is the knee injury he had last week.
Right.
So, and I guess that could have affected it, especially during a wet game as it was. But the weather should be good Monday Night Football against the Chiefs, so those excuses won't fly. And if you're like, I don't know, if your quarterback's knee is injured enough where it's going to cause him to have accuracy problems, like I don't know why you play him. It's not like Aaron Rodgers who will play with one leg and still be amazing. It's just I don't think either of those are valid reasons. I don't think Keenum's knee was injured enough to be throwing the balls in the dirt. But I'm also I'm just super strong and nothing like that has ever affected me except, when my back was out last week and I can barely sit. But other than that, I'm very, very strong.
Yeah. No, thank you for your service, by the way, for that.
Yeah. I played through it. Looking at this game, your guy on Twitter posted an interesting stat. Cian, what's his name?
Oh, Cian Fahey?
Cian Fahey.
Yeah.
It's spelled Cian and it's Cian.
Yeah.
God,
it's a Gaelic name.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then
From the
I
homeland.
shouldn't have made fun of the way it was pronounced. Anyway,
Yeah, it's actually
he pulled up this. He pulled up this. Well, I think of Celian. What's his name? Celian.
Ceiling.
Celian.
Kian.
Is it Kean Murphy, the actor?
That's Killian.
Killian.
But yeah.
It's spelled with the C too, right? Killian Murphy. God dang. Okay.
Everybody in Ireland, having been there, everybody is named either Kieran or Killian.
And they all start with C's?
And some of them are with K's, which makes it extra confusing. So
God, I hate reading. Anyway, he posted this stat on Twitter saying last year, Joe Flacco had 6 plays where his wide receivers gained more than 20 yards after the catch, and that was on 549 passing attempts. Patrick Mahomes had 6 plays go 20-plus yards this season. His receivers had 20-plus yards after the catch this season just on 93 throws.
Okay, so it's basically confirming what I've always thought, which is that Joe Flacco is much better than Patrick Mahomes.
Right, he just doesn't have the help around him or the scheme.
The stats bear it out.
Yeah, and it caused some Chiefs fan to get pissed off in my Twitter timeline and showed me like –
Oh, really? A Chiefs fan upset on Twitter?
Yeah, he posted like 4 of Celian's Murphy's hot takes about other quarterbacks that were wrong. And
he's got some.
I was just like, it was just an interesting stat. Like to me, it doesn't make – to me, it's not saying – I mean – Kean might have been saying that. But to me, it was just like an interesting stat about how good the Chiefs' offense is right now and how good I think Andy Reid is doing in getting his skill position players in a position to turn things into a big game. I mean, it's what fucking Tom Brady's receivers have done for years. Like, they throw tons of short passes – and they get big performances from their receivers, their tight ends. And it is a major concern against the Broncos on Monday Night Football because the one area they have struggled in is giving up big plays to, receivers in the passing game, whether it's a tight end or a receiver. And I think it is something to pay attention to with the way Patrick Mahomes plays and the way the Broncos defense plays as we talk about this game.
Yeah, so basically all that I just heard was that Patrick Mahomes is a system quarterback. But, yeah, no, they've got a lot to worry about. They struggled covering Mark Andrews last week, who's a rookie tight end for the Ravens. And now this week they've got Travis Kelce, who's probably a top 4 or 5 tight end in the entire NFL. So,
yeah,
got their hands full. Basically, the problem with Andrews was that on that first big gain, the Ravens did a play action out of shotgun, and basically all of the linebackers bit on the play action, which there's really no reason to do. Like, let your the defensive line's been pretty strong like all year, dating back
against the run. It hasn't been strong in any other area.
But yeah, there's no reason to cheat that hard, and that's part of the reason why they're giving up such big plays to the tight end. But they really have to fix that, or else Travis Kelce is going to have roughly 400 yards. Yeah. It's going to be tough.
It is going to be very tough. I think there are a couple issues here too. Like, Von Miller hasn't had a sack on a Kansas City quarterback since November 27th, 2016, in that terrible, heartbreaking loss.
He had 3 in that game. So
yeah, he blew up Eric Schwartz. But since then, Schwartz has given up 0 sacks to Von Miller. So I'm not confident that Miller is going to be able to wreck this game. And we're going to need, I think, a lot out of Bradley Chubb, Shane Ray, Shaq Barrett, and the Broncos defensive line. Pecco, after I criticized him week 1, had a great week 2, and then average to below average last week. Adam Gotsis has been almost a non-factor in the games. I think Derek Wolfe does quite a bit on the field that you don't really notice, but like we need to see more from that defensive line in terms of owning the line of scrimmage. They've been good against the run. The Chiefs have not been really effective rushing the ball. Like Kareem Hunt's been pretty quiet. His rushing totals 49, 75, 44 yards. Spencer Ware hasn't been too involved in the run game. So I'm confident the Broncos defense can keep the run in check, but they need to get pressure outside of Von Miller on Patrick Mahomes. That is my main concern because I don't know if they can do that consistently. And I also think Patrick Mahomes, what he does well is moves around, and when he's on the run, the guy has an arm that can get the ball anywhere on the field. That's what's scary about him. Watching what he has done well is he's got the cannon, and he's accurate with the cannon, despite what you might want to believe about him, Will.
Want to believe or just know factually about him? Yeah, no, it's a difficult matchup for the Broncos, definitely. I think one of the things that they have to do is try to score first and make the Chiefs fairly one-dimensional, because if they're running and they're passing well and they've got a lead, because the Chiefs haven't trailed this season. They've gone through 3 games and they've had the lead. Well, they haven't had the lead. They're tied to Pittsburgh, but they haven't been behind. So it'll be interesting to see like what Patrick Mahomes is like coming from behind with the deficit. And hopefully the Broncos can get out in front quickly, run the ball a little bit. They're getting Phillip Lindsay back. He's not suspended, so I think he's actually like a pretty big reason why the Broncos struggled a lot in Baltimore is because he only got 4 carries before he was unjustly imprisoned.
He was averaging 5 yards a carry too. So like that's a big blow to the offense. And
Kansas City's defense is nothing special.
No, and I mean I thought the defense was going to be bad this year. I didn't think their offense was going to be this good. But also I don't know how good or bad their defense really is because they've been playing ahead so much. And if you're a football team whose offense gets a big lead on you, your defensive stats are going to suffer because teams are just going to start slinging it all over.
Yeah, but they still were up like 21-0 to Pittsburgh, and it was 21-21 like by the time you blinked.
Right, but that is Pittsburgh too. Like, what team doesn't Pittsburgh score a lot against besides maybe the Browns?
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I want to believe that their defense is terrible. Will, trust me. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I don't have a good gauge on it either yet.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
But, like, yeah, you look at it, besides their edge rushers, there's not a lot that you're going to be impressed with the Chiefs' defense.
Yeah, well, speaking of their edge rushers, the Broncos need to do a good job, which they didn't do against Baltimore, I don't think. I think Garrett Bowles really struggled.
Bowles was terrible.
Yeah, despite that, Pro Football Focus has the Broncos O-line as the second best in the NFL.
It is not that.
Do you agree with that?
Fuck no, I don't agree with that.
I mean, it hasn't been bad at all aside from Bowles last weekend.
No, it hasn't been bad, but like
I think they're factoring in Case Keenum holding on to the ball a lot and just like how long some of those pass plays took to develop.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I think the line has been a top 15 line in the league, which is a huge leap from where it was last year. Maybe you put them in the top 10. But like if they were that good, the Broncos should be leading the league in some sort of offensive category.
Yes.
They're high up there in the rush yards per game, and yes, that has a lot to do with the line. But like, if you're gonna call them second best, the Broncos should be leading the league in rushing. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. And last week against Baltimore, it wasn't just Garrett Bowles that was struggling either. I saw Jared Beldier give up some bad pressures. Beldier got just owned on a play that I think resulted in a sack or at least a broken play. But what I do want to see Case Keenum do is when he's holding onto the ball, because he's good at escaping pressure, is he needs to take off and run a couple more times. Like, if he does that and picks up a first down or two, it starts to change the way the defense has to play against you. And he's not the fastest guy in the league, but he can pick up some first downs with his legs. So I would like to see that. The biggest concern is going to be the Broncos secondary, though, and it's not even Isaac Yiadom, who outplayed Bradley Roby in this last game, going and looking at targets for this game.
Yikes.
Yiadom was targeted 5 times. He gave up 4 receptions for 68 yards, so 17 yards of reception, which is not good. It's not good. Roby targeted 18 times, gave up 15 receptions for 164 yards, and I believe a touchdown. God damn it.
That's absolutely terrible.
He was the lowest rated defensive player on the team from last week. Tremaine Brock, before he left with his groin injury, had given up 5 passes on 7 targets for 58 yards.
Jesus Christ.
And Joe Flacco, Flacco spread the ball around because he threw at Chris Harris 14 times. Justin Simmons also has been targeted a lot. He gave up 11 receptions for 124 yards, and they say 2 touchdowns.
I have to think like this has to be a scheme problem, doesn't it? Because these guys are not that bad. Like Simmons is a good safety. Roby, we know, is like he's not as good without Talib on the outside to help him and draw coverages, but he's not like 15 yards or 15 catches, 150 yards bad. This has to be a scheme issue. They might just be playing too soft, or they're playing too much zone or something, because I don't know. Maybe they just have to get back to like more press man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And maybe those are their season stats.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Maybe I'm reading their season stats.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I was.
Okay.
God damn it.
Well, still not great. That was like a full season for Champ Bailey.
There's no way Roby gave up 15 receptions in one game. Let me see here. Let me break it down by game here for Roby. Okay. Roby against Baltimore gave up 5 receptions for 63 yards. So not quite as bad as I was saying, but
not great.
No, not great. Sorry. So just disregard all the numbers I just read, and I will take the L on that one as being just.
Also, I didn't catch it, so it's like at least.
I could have said anything there. I could have said Bradley Roby gave up 20 passes for 600 yards and be like, God, that's terrible. And be like, wait, Flacco only had 280 passing yards. How is that possible? Be like, I saw the stat, Will.
I mean, it felt like it, so.
Let me actually see how much.
Like you gave up that much.
So Yiadom, though, did give up 4 receptions for 68 yards.
Okay, not great either. Most of it came on one pass, though.
Yeah.
That deep ball to John Brown where he just got torched.
Chris Harris, still the best. Only 3 receptions, 7 targets, 29 yards. God, he just needs somebody to step up and play well against him. My point was, though, the corners, the Broncos can't rely on their corners. And when the safeties are in coverage, Justin Simmons has been that guy a lot. Like, they haven't been doing a good job either. And it last week was not good. Simmons 3 on 3, but only 14 yards. Okay, so he played better. But the Ravens have their receivers, veterans, smart. They're going to get open. They're going to make plays. Chiefs receivers are going to get open, and then they're going to smoke you for 20-plus yards. Can this secondary stop them? Do you have any hope that the Broncos secondary is going to play better against Kansas City?
Yes, I did. I can't explain why, but I think this is the game that Patrick Mahomes, the armor starts to crack a little bit. I think he throws his first interception of the year.
I think that's going to happen too.
I don't know how many. I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to throw, but I guarantee you we're seeing an interception from Mahomes.
I'm going to say it's Josie Jewell. Josie Jewell.
He's been playing well too.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot more snaps.
Has been doing a decent job in coverage. So I think maybe he makes a play on a pass across the middle that Mahomes thinks he has, and Jewell gets the pick. I also think the Broncos offense will be better.
Yeah.
This week, assuming the offensive line can contain, the Chiefs' pass rushers, their edge rushers, and give Keenum a little bit of time. I like the Broncos matchup with the Chiefs secondary. Emmanuel Sanders was kind of quiet last week outside of his rushing touchdown. I think he'll get involved early, and I think the passing game will be successful, and I think the Broncos can run on Kansas City. And you're right. If the Broncos, first thing they need to do is win the coin toss and not defer. Take that ball out first, and you want a long drive. You want to run, you want to pass, you want to take 5-6 minutes off the clock, get up by 7 points, and then make Kansas City, respond.
Yeah. No, you kind of have to treat it like you're playing Tom Brady or like when the Broncos would play Peyton Manning, although usually very unsuccessfully when he was with the Colts. But, you just have to control time possession and get up early and make them one-dimensional. And hopefully Andy Reid just does something really stupid, which he does like to do from time to time, especially in a close game.
Let Reid do that. You know what what I noticed? Devontae Booker is a good running back catching passes out of the backfield. And that's what has been said about him. And I realized in that Baltimore game, and I know I've talked about this before, and I think I just forgot about it. He may have the worst vision of any running back I have seen in the league. There were 2 or 3 runs where he took the ball, and instead of seeing where a hole is going to pop up, he puts his head down and just runs into a pile of people, runs into his own offensive lineman. And I can't remember the exact play, but there was a cutback lane there, and he just did not see it. And what should have probably been a 5 or 7 yard gain was nothing, because he just put his head down and went right into a scrum of people.
Which is kind of counterintuitive, because when he played at Utah, they ran basically the same type of scheme as the Broncos, his own blocking scheme.
That's why they took him.
Run that
fit in that
as much now, but he's not been able to do that very well. He's basically just like a 2 yards in a cloud of dust guy.
Yeah,
but he catches the ball well, so I guess that's
he did. He made some plays in the Ravens game on a couple.
All I was thinking though during that game was ooh, it would be nice to have D'Angelo Henderson now that Phillip Lindsay's gone.
Yeah, no, I mean that's how you replace that production, is with a dynamic guy like that, who you shouldn't have cut. But
of course you need a veteran, because apparently Royce Freeman's not the best pass blocking running back on the team. And you just need a veteran for whatever reason at the position where experience matters the least.
Right. Also, you're drifting over to one side of the frame.
Yeah. See, I got I switched chairs. I got a swiveling chair. And it's just very hard to resist,
because I know when I edit this video together, your face is just going to be cut off, because I'm not going to go back and try to fix it. So stay in the middle, Will. Who are you going to take? Who are you taking on this game before we go into NFL stuff?
Oh, man. My brain is telling me to pick the Chiefs. But I don't trust my brain. I'm taking the Broncos. Ooh. When has my brain ever done anything good for me?
That's a good question.
Never fall into that. Never.
Trying to work with me is not a smart decision. So, Yeah, I don't think I will be picking the Broncos, but right now, since we're on a podcast and it doesn't matter, I'll say the Broncos.
Well, okay. So basically, whatever happens, I'm going to count you for a loss.
Yeah, I think the Broncos lose to the Chiefs. I think they'll beat the Jets. And then the Rams are going to come to town without Aqib Talib. And
possibly without Marcus Peters, too.
Maybe. Peters is a game-time decision tonight now. So
you never know.
It's a calf strain. But yeah, now we will transition to NFL talking. Transitions.
Completed.
Okay, yeah, so Thursday Night Football is happening tonight. By the time a lot of you listen to this, that will already have happened. So what we're saying is going to be stupid. But you got the Vikings and the Rams. The Vikings trying to bounce back after just getting owned by the Buffalo Bills. The Rams, Aqib Talib is having ankle surgery. They placed him on IR. Marcus Peters, they thought it tore his Achilles. That did not happen. He has a calf strain. It is a game-time decision. Initially, they said it was a 2 to 4 week healing process, but then the NFL doctors came in and said, no, you can play on that shit. So we'll see if Peters plays tonight. The Rams do have good depth at the cornerback position. You're not going to replace Peters and Talib, but Sam Shields should be getting a start. He's played well so far this season. They have Nickel Roby-Coleman as their slot corner, also pretty good. And then Troy Hill is the other corner coming in, who I don't know a lot about. And those guys are going to be tested, I think, against the Vikings, who I do think will play better than they did against the Bills. Both of those teams, Rams and Vikings, are fourth in passing yards per game at 305.7. So this is, I think, should be a good Thursday night game. Hard to top last week's Browns' first victory in 2 years over the Jets, but anything you're looking for in this Rams-Vikings game?
Not really.
Good.
No,
that means Phil has not thought about this. He has been working on other things.
I want to see the wide receivers against the Rams' second and third string corners, because Adam Thielen was pretty quiet last week. Stephon Diggs didn't do a lot. Buffalo doesn't have the best corners. Obviously, their depth was hurt by Vontae Davis just fucking leaving. And
but Tre'Davious White's really good.
Yeah, he is. A lot of it had to do with the Buffalo pass rush too. But I want to see if they can exploit what seems to be the Rams' only weakness right now. And it's only for, a temporary amount of time. Right.
And the Vikings line is a little banged up. Riley Reif, their left tackle, is on the injury report, and they're facing probably one of the, top 5 defensive fronts in football. So a lot I think you can take away from this game in terms of starting to really see what strengths these teams do have this year in 2018 and not riding on their accomplishments from 2017. Skip Bayless really doesn't believe in the Vikings defense at all.
Okay.
So I think the Vikings defense is going to play very good football tonight. I will say, though, Jared Goff in the last game against the Chargers looked really good. And
he did. That was maybe his best game in a couple of years.
Yeah, maybe
his career.
He was putting the ball in places that, you expect seasoned veteran QBs to do. And week 1 against the Raiders, that was my kind of criticism against him. He was trying to make some throws that you just felt like he didn't have the arm or talent to make. And he missed and couldn't get the ball through some tight windows. And against the Chargers, he did those things. So I want to see if he can do that against a really good Vikings secondary, because it's going to be tougher than the Chargers, who I think defense has just kind of been underperforming this season so far.
Yeah. So do you think the Rams are the best team in the league?
I think they're the best team in the NFC. I don't think last year, the NFC had all the teams that were better. So far this season, I don't think one team has like stood out as looking like the best in football. And a lot of that came crashing down last weekend with all of the upsets. So I think they could be. I think if Goff keeps playing this good, then yeah, they're going to be, well, they'll be the favorites. The Saints, as bad as their defense has been, Drew Brees looks unstoppable. If Aaron Rodgers gets healthy, then maybe the Packers. The Vikings, if they bounce back tonight, I think become the favorites again in the NFC. So I think there's a lot to be settled there. And then, you've got the Eagles with Carson Wentz only 1 week back. Like once he starts to feel like himself, the Eagles could easily be the best team in the NFC again. So I think there's just too much to sort of figure out before we can say which team in the NFC looks like the best.
I think the Bears could be one of the best teams in the NFC if they just had anybody better than Mitch Trubisky, because he's been pretty shitty so far.
Yeah. No, their Bears defense, one of the best in the league right now.
Right. Plus Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, they've been good against the run and the pass. So, the Bears kind of a surprise, I think, defensively. Although last year they looked like the pieces were there, but it's like really starting to come together from them. And even the Detroit Lions defense, they're, I think, one of the best. Let's see here. The Lions have the best passing defense in the NFL right now, only giving up 152 yards per game. So that's kind of interesting to watch, to see if, their offense can click. And your boy Matt Patricia gonna steal your thunder and not be a disaster like you have so predicted through the first couple of weeks.
I was rooting for him on Sunday night, so.
Goddamn right you were.
I have to. I would root for just about anybody to beat Bill Belichick. And I mean anybody.
No, that's true. The Panthers are on a bye week, but they did sign safety Eric Reid today, which is big news because he is a big part of the Colin Kaepernick collusion case against the NFL. He was arguably the most talented safety on the market, and I guess the Panthers need help in the secondary, so they signed him.
Yeah, it looks that way.
And he's not like a great safety, but he's a middle-of-the-road safety you can go in and play competent football for your football team. So
yeah, I mean, do you think he's better than like Darian Stewart at this point?
No, I think Stewart's still playing decent football.
Okay, I think so too. It's just a little food for thought.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But
and then
I don't know if John Elway is signing anybody associated with Colin Kaepernick ever again.
Yeah, no shit, right? Also, with Thursday Night Football, it's on Amazon Prime streaming. We've got the first all-female broadcast booth, which Will and I have said we are excited about. It's Andrea Kremer and Hannah Storm. That's a badass name. That's a good broadcasting name, Hannah Storm.
Yeah, it feels made up. Like, I had this theory back in the day whenever I would just watch SportsCenter on ESPN or whatever like show they had that was like hosted with anchors, that they just gave their anchors new names just to make them like roll off the tongue. Because like, they had like Neil Everett and Stan Verrett. Like, that's Everett and Verrett. Like, that's not a coincidence. They definitely gave them pseudonyms. Hannah Storm feels like one of those.
No, I think you're right. Are you going to watch on Prime? Does anybody actually watch it on Amazon Prime?
I don't know why I would, because I have Fox. I also do have Prime, but I might check it out for a little bit, go back and forth. Like, I'm not a huge Joe Buck fan or anything, although I like him more than I used to.
And you can watch this game on NFL Network, on Fox, and on Amazon Prime. So the NFL is just trying to make sure you can watch it anywhere except for Reddit's illegal streams.
Yeah. No, Amazon's going to be interesting because I don't think they're going to have commercials or anything, so it's going to be a different kind of broadcast.
Yeah, I might try to watch it on there. to see the difference because I've never watched it streaming. I know they do that with the London games too, don't they? Doesn't Amazon stream those?
Yeah, I believe so.
When's the first London game?
I don't know. I kind of – part of me likes those games just because it feels like football is just going on for longer in the day.
It's too early in the morning, though.
Yeah, but it's 6:30 for me. It's 7:30 for you.
Yeah, I wake up and a game's half over. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know. I always am like excited and like I'll get up at like 6:30 to watch it, and then I'll realize like halfway through like, oh, this Jaguars-Ravens game fucking sucks, and I go back to bed until 10.
Right. Yeah, I don't think – except when the Broncos played the 49ers in London, I don't think I've watched more than like 10 minutes of a London game.
But that was before they started doing them at an ungodly time in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Let's do the picks for all of these games. We
didn't say who.
No, you can reveal that. Reveal it, please. Oh, we didn't pick a Thursday night. I thought you were gonna say we didn't say who shit the bed on their picks last week.
No, we're gonna do that too.
I picked the Vikings to win in my prediction episode because I think everything about this game says the Rams should definitely win, and I have been so bad that I'm just gonna try to keep being bad. But the Vikings, the reason I think the Vikings might win is they're backed into a corner a little bit. So that's why.
I like it. I like the pick. I think I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, that's what a smart man would do.
Just because they're at home on a short week and most time,
Thursday night home games are such a big
not. Yeah, you're going to win at home on Thursday night. I'm going with the Rams.
Why do you think the NFL wouldn't do those games on Friday night?
It's a bigger TV night on Thursday.
Yeah, but maybe
people don't watch TV on Friday.
I think people would watch on Friday nights.
I mean, I would, but people with a social life like to go out and do stuff.
Yeah, you go out and watch the game at a bar. I don't know.
Plus, people like to watch. The NFL wants people to watch at home because that's more TVs.
Yeah, whatever.
Bigger ratings.
All right, tell everybody what our picks record was.
Okay, so Brandon, you know this. I'm not breaking any news. You went 4-12 last week.
God.
That's tough. I didn't do much better. I went 7-9, so I had a losing record too. But for the season, your overall record is 21-25 and 2 ties, and mine is 28-21-2. So you got some ground to make up. You think you're up to the task?
I don't think I've ever picked as many wrong games as I did last week.
It was tough. That was a tough week.
I'm going to start actually
we had some big upsets.
I feel like I'm trying to pick just the opposite of what I think you're going to pick sometimes to make it interesting, and I'm not going to do that this week.
Nope. Pick with your heart.
All right. What do we got here? Let's go through these.
So the first game, possibly the game of the week, in my opinion, at the 10 o'clock or the 11 o'clock slot for you guys. Dolphins at Patriots.
Patriots, 7-point favorites in this game.
3-0 Dolphins, 1-2 Patriots in Foxborough.
Oh, it's at Patriots?
Yeah. The Dolphins traditionally get their asses kicked in Foxborough.
No, I like most teams do. I want the Dolphins to win.
I know you do.
I really believe they can win too. But
so you're picking them. Yeah, I'm going to take them too. If this was in Miami, I think I'd pick the Dolphins.
I think you're right.
And I don't think this means that the Patriots are actually as good as they have been in the last few years.
It's just hard to see them losing 3 in a row.
Right. And I don't think that this means that the Dolphins are frauds or anything like Patrick Mahomes, but I think, things tend to even out typically. And this is one of those games.
If the Dolphins get a win here, it's huge because it puts the Patriots down 3 games with a division loss, and the Dolphins are undefeated. And if they win, that could put the Dolphins in the playoffs over the Patriots at the end of the season. So
Good.
Really big game for Miami, but yeah, I think Patriots win.
Right. Okay. Second game, Eagles at Titans. Both 2-1.
Titans, the sneakiest, okayest team in the league. Your coaching tree of failures theory continues to be disproven as Mike Vrabel looking like a good head coach will.
He's won 2 games with Blaine Gabbert, so it's hard to argue.
Yeah, I think I need to pay a little more attention to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans Tube YouTube channel would agree with that. But I'm going to go with the Eagles to get a win.
Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles as well.
Ow.
You okay?
Ow. Hold on. Carry the show, Will.
All right. All right, so Brandon's injured. It happens. We play contact sport. Podcasting is a man's game. So anyway, we're picking the Bengals and the Falcons now.
Oh, my leg cramped up. My back. It's that back injury. I've been sitting too long. And
I'll say it. Podcasting's a contact sport.
My fucking headphones shocked me. I got an electric shock in my ear when I stood up. Okay, I think I just need to stretch my legs out. I picked the Eagles.
Yes, you took the Eagles.
Next team.
Bengals at Falcons.
Oh, fuck. That's a tough one.
It's tough. I don't know who I'm taking.
Joe Mixon still out for the Bengals. Giovanni Bernard on the injury report this week. A little bit of a quad injury.
Don't like that.
Julio Jones on the injury report, though, as well. Calvin Ridley, though. That dude looks good. Give me Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't see Atlanta losing 2 games in a row at home. So I'm going to take the Falcons as well. That's my reasoning.
All right.
We're both on the Falcons. Chris Berman. So you're all on the Falcons. Buccaneers at Bears. Fitz magic.
Ooh, man.
True Bisky magic.
Fitz magic. He bounced back last week.
He did.
I started him in fantasy. Needed just a few points. He carried me. He'll be starting this week, right? They've said that?
Yeah. Well, they haven't said it publicly, but he took the first team snaps on Wednesday.
Yeah, it would be stupid not to start him.
It would.
Man, no. Against that Bears defense,
it's tough.
I think the Bears are favored on the road. Are they on the – yeah. No, they're at home. Sorry. Bears are at home. Yeah, I think the Bears are favored.
Probably.
I'm going to pick the Bucks.
Okay. I'm going to take the Bears.
God damn it.
I thought we were going to I thought we wanted some variance. Maybe not. But
we do. I think you're probably right. Well, yeah, I think you're probably right.
Trust me. I didn't have a winning record last week.
Yeah, I'll stick with the Bucks. Yeah, I'll keep riding the Buck train.
Bucking off. No, that doesn't work.
Bucking off. No. Okay, then Lions, Cowboys.
It's a tough one. This is a tough one to pick.
Yeah, you go first now. I did half first. Okay. Now you do the other half first.
Let's see. Lions got a big win last week. Cowboys, a big loss. I'm taking the Lions. I don't know why. I don't trust the Cowboys at all. I think they're going to implode at some point. They're just not very good.
I'm going to take the Lions too. Just because I like the Lions more.
Okay.
The Cowboys, I knew were going to lose to Seattle last week, but I picked the Cowboys just because fuck Seattle. You know, the Super Bowl 48 still stings sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. The Cowboys' defense is the best part of their team, which you wouldn't have guessed.
Also, it looks like the Lions can run the ball now with Kerryon Johnson and
exactly. They learned to maybe run the ball. I think Matt Patricia's plan's starting to come together. So Plus, Matthew Stafford, still love him.
Yeah. This is a rematch of that 2014 playoff game where the Lions kind of got screwed.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's been a while. It's been a few years. I think, yeah, I'm on the Lions as well.
Lions,
Bills at Packers.
Ooh.
Lions and Lions.
Packers are pretty big favorites in this game.
Pack.
I think they're 10-point favorites.
So this is where
10 points.
This is where the Bills thought Minnesota was last week, which is actually Wisconsin.
Right.
So do you think that factors in at all?
I do.
Do you think they're actually going to go to Minnesota this week?
I think the Packers will win. I'm just going to take the Packers.
Yeah, I don't see the Bills pulling off 2 NFC North road wins in back-to-back weeks, as well as they played last week in Minnesota. I'm taking the Packers as well.
Okay.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers – yeah, really quick. Do you think Aaron Rodgers has a torn ACL? Because it kind of looks like it. Looks like he's playing with a torn ACL for the whole season.
Maybe. I think a sprained ligament in your knee is just as painful. John Elway played without an ACL his whole career, so nobody's better than him at it.
Basically, Phil Rivers times 1,000.
Yeah. Anybody thinks they're tough? Play your whole career without one, like John Elway. That really is his baddest the coolest fact about Elway. He lost his ACL in college or high school, right? He tore it and decided not to get surgery?
Here's the thing. I don't really understand anything about anatomy. I don't know how you can just lose your ACL. You just pull it out?
Well, it just tears in half and then
just pull it out like a wishbone.
It tears in half and then it just shrivels down into your fucking ankle and thigh, wherever else it's attached.
Like it sinks? You think it just gravity just sucks it down to his foot?
Yeah, think of a stretched rubber band, and if you cut it in the middle, what would happen to it?
The tension would.
Yeah. And then probably just scar tissue and shit builds up in there, and that's why now Elway walks with a horrible bow-legged limp.
The gimp from Pulp Fiction.
Right.
Okay. Texans at Colts.
Oh, man. Texans need a win.
They do.
But I like the Colts. I'm going to buy into Andrew Luck, Frank Reich. Give me the Colts.
I was going to take the Colts, but now I'm going to take the Texans just because they do need to win. And I think they're playing with their backs up against the wall like the Bills last week, possibly like the Vikings this week. I think they're too talented to start 0-4. So I'm picking them, even though I do like the Colts. I think they're going to start 1-3.
Yeah, well, the Colts are 1-2 as well, so I think both of these teams need to win. You're right, though; could go either way. But I want to believe in Andrew Luck again.
I do too, even though he didn't throw that Hail Mary, which apparently people were upset about.
They hated it. Jets at Jags. We both think
I lost the video feed. I got to get it back. God damn it.
I see you.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, no, I know. I just clicked out of it. I had a tab open so I can read and see.
Jets, Jags. Who you got?
Jags.
Jags for me too. Easy. Seahawks at Cardinals. I think we'll both take the Seahawks here. Or are you going with – you going to believe in Rosen week 1? Our first start.
I'm taking Frozen, Chosen, Rosen.
Frozen, Chosen, Rosen, huh? I'll go with the Seahawks.
I think Frozen Rosen's going to throw some chosen ropes to Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk, and they're going to get their toes in to the end zone. Touchdown.
Go. I've got Seahawks. You got Cardinals. Browns, Raiders. Baker Mayfield also getting his first start. Raiders are favored at home.
I'm going to take the Raiders.
Yeah, I am too, actually. I think Gruden will not go 0-4.
Yeah, because they truly have been competitive in all of their games, and I think they're going to get one at some point. Like, they probably should have won in Miami last week.
They are at the bottom of the NFL for sacks and QB pressures.
It's true.
They are the worst team. So let's just twist that knife a little more. 49ers at Chargers. I think easy pick here.
Yeah, I will be taking the San Diego Los Angeles Chargers here. C.J. Beathard getting his first start of the year for the 49ers. That's basically why I'm picking them.
I concur.
Okay, so we're
Saints
all on
at Giants.
Saints.
I'll go Saints too. We're rooting for Drew Brees to break all the records and make sure Tom Brady
doesn't get them.
Less of them. Saquon Barkley, though, he had a game last week.
Yeah, he almost lost you that FanDuel matchup this week.
He did lose it for me.
No. Well, yeah, he lost it for you, but you lost.
I won.
He won it for you.
Yeah,
he lost it for you.
He gave me more points than you, right?
No, he didn't.
I thought he did.
No, I don't think so.
Well, we'll reveal that in a second.
Yeah, okay. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Last game of the week.
Ravens
at Steelers. Guess what, Brandon? This is a rivalry. This is a rivalry game. Guess what? These teams don't like each other very much, and there's no love lost between these two teams.
No, none at all.
That's all I have to say about this.
Is that Monday? No, wait, that's Sunday Night Football?
It's Sunday, yeah. Remember when this game was on, this game was on Sunday Night Football seemingly 6 times a season? I swear to God, Sunday Night Football from 2010 to 2013 was just
Ravens,
Steelers, and Cowboys, Giants, which I guess it still is. But Steelers are favored at home.
Fudge. I'm going to go with the Ravens because I picked them to win the division.
Okay.
The Steelers, I think, they have a chance to start to gain some momentum after their win last week, but I'll ride with the Ravens.
I'm going to take the Steelers. I think they're going to pick up a little momentum after last week. Plus, they're at home. And I think I have no stats to back this up, but I think they usually play well against the Ravens at home.
No, they do. But, okay. So those are our picks. Last week's FanDuel, I did lose.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had 105 points and you had 100.
I can't be right. Oh, I thought it said 110. My bad. Yeah, no, you did lose. Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, you know who screwed me? Saquon Barkley and Jordy Nelson with 26.3 points.
Yeah,
is that bullshit?
Fucked you again.
Other than that, I did pretty good.
Yeah, you picked Marcus Mariota, who didn't start, but ended up with 9.1 points.
Yeah.
C.J. Anderson had a touchdown on that screen pass.
9 points.
Barkley got that touchdown for you. Jordy Nelson obviously went off. Nothing really out of Rashad Penny. Ricky Seals-Jones, who we both took in the first 2 weeks of this contest.
He's looking like a tight end. Yeah, you got – your smart pick was the Bengals defense who got 0 points.
Yeah, I got lucky there.
Carolina owned them.
Stafford ended up getting twice as many as Mariota. He had 18.4.
So you got –
Chris Ivory actually had 14 points.
Yeah, he had a big game.
Yeah.
So you win again for getting the worst lineup. We have set – our terrible FanDuel lineups again. Also, not sponsored by FanDuel, by the way. So,
unless they want to, then we'll listen to offers.
All right. So let's go through our lineups real quick here and see who can be shittier this week. Starting at the quarterback position, I have started QB for the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott against Detroit Lions with their number 1 pass defense.
That's a good pick. That's a really good pick. Yeah, Dak is not very good. I'm going to say it. I don't think he's very good. I don't think his offensive line is very good right now without Travis Frederick. So that's a good pick by you. I took Ryan Fitzpatrick just because I think there's a chance he could throw a lot of interceptions.
Oh, that's going to kill you.
and get sacked by Khalil Mack. He could also single-handedly lose this for me too, because he could have a 5-touchdown, 500-yard game.
He could, after being the first quarterback to throw for 400 yards in 3 straight games, he'll be the first quarterback to throw for 400 yards in 4 straight games. Running back. Who's your first running back?
I took Isaiah Crowell against the Jacksonville defense.
I almost took that too. But I had to wiggle. I needed to make some moves, and I needed a high-priced back, so I took Kareem Hunt against the Broncos defense.
Okay. I think that's a good pick.
He had 2 TDs last week, a little risky, but again, only 44 rush yards last week. So that's probably my best player who could fuck me is Kareem Hunt.
It's entirely possible. I took my second running back was Austin Eckler, who I took last week and had 6 points for me last week. So
yeah, that's
he's
a smart
pretty
pick.
consistent. He's consistent. He's going to catch a few passes, but Melvin Gordon's doing most of the work there.
I almost picked that as well, but I went with Peyton Barber against the Bears defense. So Tampa Bay running back Peyton Barber, who had one good play in the Steelers game, and I tweeted you that the Buccaneers have a running back. So I'm betting on that Bears defense.
Yeah, the Bucs still might not have a running back. I'll just say it. I took for my first wide receiver, Geronimo Allison for the Packers.
Oh, I had him on there, and I needed to shed $100. So I had to drop Geronimo Allison. I think that's a smart pick. So I went with Quincy Enunwa against Jacksonville. Now, Quincy's by far, I think, the Jets' best receiver. I'm taking a matchup against a good Jacksonville secondary.
No, I think it's a good pick. For my second wide receiver, I've got Will Fuller, Will Fuller the fifth against
Is that
the
your
Colts.
Injury pick?
Yes, and I'm realizing I didn't know Fuller was injured, and I have 2 questionable players. So I'm going to have to switch out my flex because I've got Marlon Mack in the flex, and he's questionable as well.
Yes, you are, Will.
I'm going to have to do that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, who's your second wide receiver?
I went with Phillip Dorsett again.
Okay.
So,
that could be smart. Josh Gordon's coming.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon's going to play this week, it looks like, I think.
And if we know anything about the Patriots, they're not going to give Phillip Dorsett more targets if Josh Gordon's out there.
Nope, they don't like to do that. My third wide receiver is Chris Godwin. I know he's had some good games back to back, but I'm riding on the Bears over the Bucks pick this week, so yeah. I'm gonna handcuff Fitzpatrick with the Godwin here, or anti-handcuff him.
Right, you're all in on this because this could hurt you. But
right, yeah.
I looked at
back for 1 touchdown. I'm fucked.
I looked at Godwin. Was he the guy who ran into the wall in the Bucks game too?
No, that was Isaiah Johnson.
That was a defensive player, right?
Yeah.
I went with Cowboys Terrence Williams. So same play. I'm betting on Prescott to be bad, so this is my Cowboy receiver against that Detroit defense.
I like it. My tight end is George Kittle for the 49ers, and that's basically just because I'm not so sure about C.J. Beathard this week. Kittle's been a lot better with Garoppolo than he was last year with C.J. Beathard in the lineup. So that's my reason behind that. That
is also my tight end.
All right. There's our first time.
First time we got the same guy.
First overlap.
And we both obviously needed a guy who had a little bit higher value at the position.
Yeah.
And it's against the Chargers should have a decent secondary. So
you would think, but they are the Chargers, and they love to fuck up.
Okay, so my flex questionable receiver, since you got to pick a new one, is Keenan Allen. On the injury report this week with a knee injury. So I am hoping he doesn't play because this obviously could be a huge mistake for me. Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers in the league going against a bad defense, but I'm banking on him being hurt. A knee injury for a receiver, I just think serious enough to, rest him.
Yeah, and he's been an injury-prone guy in his career.
That is true.
So that's a good play. All right, so I took out Marlon Mack, and I replaced him with a man who cost the same exact amount of money, who's been maybe the MVP so far of this fantasy league, and it's Rashad Penny for the Seahawks. We've both had him. He's a great player. And by great player, I mean he's very, very bad and doesn't score at all. So I'm excited to round out my lineup with Rashad Penny.
Yeah, we might have to make a rule after a certain point. No more starting Rashad Penny.
Yes, it's like performance-enhancing drugs.
Right. Okay, that's good. And
Until they start making them worth $100.
Yeah, I went with for my defense. I took the 49ers defense against the Chargers.
Okay, I took Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. Like it.
Yeah, because they're in the top 10 this week, and I thought that's way too high for them.
Like it. Homer pick, you know what I mean?
A little bit, but also makes a little bit of sense.
You hate the Chiefs, and I love it.
I sure do.
Yeah, so that'll conclude this podcast covering the Broncos, the NFL, our worst fantasy lineups. Will is winning in game picks and picking terrible fantasy teams. Hopefully I bounce back this week. Thanks for listening. Follow Will on Twitter at WillKey6. And if you made it this far into the podcast, just say Patrick Mahomes is a pretender in the comments. And
hot fraud.
Goodbye.